Well, I've just got back from a very, very windy Hellifield station, and I've been up there because, as you know if you watched my previous video, this board is based on that, very loosely. Well, I've had some deliveries come in. This has just arrived. We won't be fitting this today, but we will be making a start on scratch building the platform. So as I mentioned, we're going to use the foam board. It's like a high density foam board. It's much less messy than polystyrene, which is always a bonus. And to be honest, it's not that expensive either, which I wanted next day delivery, so I paid over the odds as usual. I've come up with an issue though. If I just spin the camera and zoom you in a bit, the issue is if I bring a Mark III coach in, Mark 1, I'm going to get slated in comments for that, aren't I? As you can see, that's quite a step up to get on the coach, which is a bit of an issue. I'm hoping the camera picks it up. I will zoom it in a bit so you can see in editing. Now if I put this on this cork and just hold it as sort of as flat as I can on the 3mm cork, I'd say that was roughly about right. Well, after speaking with my uncle, he's made a point that we obviously have to get the surface of the platform on, which I think will actually bring it to the right height. So we're not going to put any cork underneath, so it's straight foam to the baseboard. So I need to get this drawn out, just roughly, and then we can trim stuff down later on, once we've got a rough idea of the shape. So I'll do this bit first, because it's obviously easier because it cuts off here, so I only need to trim off, you know, maybe so much, and then we can transfer and start working on this section here. We are currently, my line's set to 8mm from the end of the sleepers, which would be 2 foot in scale. Mistakes are going to happen, but the only way to learn from them is to make them. Hopefully the camera's picking up that score line. Children of a younger age, please ask for an adult's help. Do not try cutting this in one pass. It's going to take multiple. It's perfectly flush. We're absolutely spot on with the line. So I've just measured all this and realised I was out of frame, so what I've done is that made sure it's flush right up to the edge, which it is, and that it's lined on our line. I've measured the distance here, which was 6.5mm. If I put that on like so, we want 6.5mm, which I've marked, and I've just drawn it up to the length of this, which I believe was 80mm. It was 80mm, and I've done that just by using a set square. Like so, and that's just going to allow us to create this straight line. It gives us a guide down at this side. So just a nice shallow line to start with to help guide the blade. for the next passes. So we're not quite through yet, but with a bit of luck, the high density foam allows for easy snapping. If I could just take this quick 5-10 seconds to just say thank you for watching this video. If you are enjoying it, hit that like button and don't forget to hit subscribe and turn the bell notifications on. Let's see how accurate I am. That tiny little off-cutter track, we're just going to use that to make sure of clearances as usual. So we're now at the point where the curve is starting, and looking from overhead the curve actually makes a start around this section. I'm going to be honest, I'm a bit unsure on how I'm going to transfer that curve to the foam. Should have thought this through, shouldn't I? So it starts there, it ends there, but it needs to be a gentle curve. It's such a gentle curve. Because it's the start of the curve and it's right on the end of the foam board obviously, so it does make it a bit challenging. It's not an issue. What I want to do is get this bit cut out so I can deal with the curve maybe from this side and then come back and fettle with this. Well, surprisingly I'm actually not far off at all, and all I've done to get that far is I basically just freehanded it. Just looked over, scored it with a line, but it's too close to the coach, as you can see. I'm going to get a pen, and it's a pen from Delft Junction, so cheers Pete and Sue. And I'm going to hold it against the coach. I have no idea if this is going to work, by the way, but I'm going to try it and see what happens. So I'm going to hold it from here where the curve naturally starts, holding it. Just going slow. So let's get that cut out and we'll see what the results are. I've put a fresh blade in because I think that's why we're chewing up. Always dispose of your blades or sharps in the correct manner. So just running the Mark 1 through. So the gap opens up a little bit there. I think that's good. Class 37 test. It's definitely closer. What do you guys think? I think we're alright. So I fitted crew to this 08 and one of them's in a little bit of an awkward position. Ooh, gosh, that's close. Right, so that is an issue. So we're alright here, we're alright there. If I just whip that bit off there, we'd be alright there, but up here, once the coping stones are on, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. You see what I mean? So what do I do? Do I trim it back a bit? Or do I do what I don't really want to do and remove that figure? Quite like how it looks. It's got a driver fitted, driver's mate, and then I fitted a light as well. And I quite like it where it is, or where that guy is I should say. That's a real shame. Let me have a think. Right, I've been and had a coffee, made the coffee I should say, and I've had a little think. What is the main focus of this board? Well, it's derelict and it's abandoned. So what I'm thinking is, where the 08 does catch in this short area here, and a little bit further on obviously, the coping stones that will be slightly off the edge, I'm just going to break them to allow enough clearance, because abandoned, derelict, vandalised, and I think that makes total sense. So that's what we're going with. Now I need your help, because this section here, do I leave it as is, or do I make it a slight, like the ramp you would see on various platforms? That's up to you guys, and you guys are going to decide that answer. Whatever is the most voted in the comments, that will be the outcome. So I'm just, before we end the video, I'm just going to mention that I'm not gluing this down to the board, because it's going to be easier to work off the board with it, so I don't damage it in any way, shape or form. High density foam requires a certain type of glue. It's a polyurethane glue. This one just happens to be Gorilla Glue, and it's applied by a brush because of course the nozzle's blocked. Applied some tape just to keep the pressure there, you know, squeezing together, and now it's a case of crossing our fingers. Anyway, thank you for watching. I need to order some bits so we can start progressing a bit more, so there might be a video next week on this. If not, hopefully there'll be a filler video. Hit that like button and I'll see you next time.